I went really creature heavy with this one since there was like one or two cards that were also like snatched away from me from what angle. We have really similar tastes in that regard. Phyrexian Vindicator. I found it interesting because it's similar to Phyrexian Obliterator. I think it is. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
And I like the potential to be able to kind of combo him with other things that. Thank you, lazy head boy. Um, the potential to combo with things which is kind of like pinging itself to be able to ping damage to like opponents or to their creatures. And he's a 5/5 flyer. It's a Phyrexian horror. I'm actually a little sad that this thing wasn't an angel because I think it would have been excellent as an angel. Like it's an honorary angel in my heart. Not a lot to say about it in that regard. I just think it's really freaking cool. The design of like the art itself is it looks like terrifying. I love it. Tyrannax Rex, or in other words, Phyrexian Haxorus. First off, the Haxorus reference is right there, and that's one of the things that just kind of popped out to me and made me love it. I also love dinosaurs. Like, my love for mythical creatures starts at dragons, and then we have, well, dinosaurs aren't exactly mythical, but dinosaurs are like right below dragons on that. So, um, he can't be countered. I kind of hate that this is a better Tarask to a certain degree, my very personal opinion. Just to give a little bit more context to our listeners, let me roll that back for a second. The Phyrexian Vindicator. It's four costed, so for 4 white mana. You get a creature, Phyrexian Horror. He's a 5/5. He has flying, and his ability is if damage would be dealt to Phyrexian Vindicator, you prevent the damage and deal that damage to any other target. Going back to the Tyrannax Rex, he goes down for 4 and 3 green. So he comes down for 7, total of 7. He's a creature Phyrexian dinosaur, which is awesome. He can't be countered. He has trample, ward 4, haste, and toxic 4, and he is an 8/8. This thing is beautiful. It's basically a what's that called? Not power scaled. What's the name? I always forget. Like a power crept. The dinosaur that came out in Ixalan that was like the blue counter for green at the time. Really really quick note. I like that it has toxic 4 because if this thing was infect, this thing would be absolutely insane. Like 8 hitting. I got lazy head boy saying over here Tyrannax is a raid boss. I agree.
Carnage Tyrant.
Carnage Tyrant. There we go. So it's a scaled up Carnage Tyrant. I like that he's at toxic 4 because if this thing had infect, like at 8 infect, it would be way too ridiculous. But then again, just wouldn't make sense if he was like smaller than that, in my opinion. So having toxic 4, I think is really good. Like it'll just it'll do the damage, so it's definitely scary taking 8 damage to the face, regardless of the format. And then those 4 toxic just really put a clock on your opponents. Then we got Graz, Unstoppable Juggernaut. This guy comes down for 8. He's a legendary artifact creature, Juggernaut. Juggernauts you control attack each combat if able. Juggernauts you control can't be blocked by walls. Other creatures you control have power and toughness 5/3 and are Juggernauts in addition to their other types. And he is a 7/5. You can make Juggernaut tribal with this, or he can essentially be your finisher. I really, really enjoy this. Like this can also be the type of situation in which you play a bunch of stuff like Ornithopter and a bunch of like cheaply costed artifact creatures that are like 0 power creatures. It seems really underwhelming, and then you come in and generate enough mana to cast Graz Unstoppable Juggernaut. Next thing you know, you're smacking somebody with a huge board. I enjoy this card in its entirety. It's really easy to produce a lot of mana and colorless. Like this is the card that I saw and I instantly thought, hey, this can be my 6 deck, like my colorless deck, because it just lends itself for that theme very heavily. I absolutely love it. Then we have Urtet. I forget how to translate this man into Spanish, but he's a mer. Urtet would
I
be
think
the remains of
give me
Memnard.
1 second. I think that he's already been spoiled.
Yeah, he
He's
has.
Urtet,
Urtet remains of
remnant
Memnard.
of Memrak,
Oh,
legendary artifact creature Meyer.
Mer.
Mer. My bad. Mer. He costs 3 mana. Whenever you cast a Mer spell, create a 1/1 colorless Mer artifact creature token. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, untap each Mer you control. You can pay Uberg, tap, put 1/1 counters on each Mer you control, activate only during your turn, and it's a 2/2.
It's a shame that you can only activate it during your turn,
Mer.
but also yes, Mer. um, Again, I like that it lends itself for like dramatic reversal Isochron combos. You can just make a bunch of mana, start making your Mers huge, and then just smack in for infinite 1/1 counter Mers. Mer tribal. That's the highlight in this. Like these are the two. We're getting two tribal decks that just support themselves. You know what I mean? Like I really enjoy that. You can play all of the
Good Mers.
dorks. Yeah, you can play all the good Mers. You can play all the dork Mers, which makes it great.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm actually really excited for this card. I'm so sad that those Mers are probably going to shoot up in price as soon as this thing is released.
There's only like 39 or 38 of them, if I'm not mistaken. So they're I don't think they're gonna be like none of them are as good as the support cards, and the support cards for them aren't even that good. It's just a fun 5-color deck.
Yeah, which is exactly why I like it.
Actually, there is one Mer Reservoir. It's from Scar of Mirrodin. It says it's an artifact that add 2 mana, 2 colorless mana to your mana pool to spend this mana only to cast Mer spells or activated Mer abilities. And then you can pay 3 to return target Mer card from your graveyard to your hand. This card actually, it was a $1.50 card, and right now is going up to 3 to 4 non-foil, and going up to $5. And there's already one sold, listed median price foil for 30.
Wow, that's insane.
Yep.
Why the heck did anyone buy that at 30? But
I don't know, man. Ask the person that bought it in TCG Player.
Now, the highlight out of all of the cards that I've chosen here, I think, is Synthesis Pod.
Yes.
This thing is insane, and for those who haven't, for those listeners who haven't already caught on to what Synthesis Pod may be, it is an artifact that comes down for 3 mana and 1 blue Phyrexian mana.
It comes out for 3 mana.
Essentially, yeah. It's just 3 mana and 2 life. Nobody's gonna pay the freaking mana, but it has a really fun ability, which for 1 and 1 Phyrexian blue mana, which again, it's 1 mana and 2 life at that point, and tapping it, you can exile a spell you control. Target opponent reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a card with mana value equal to 1 plus the exiled spell's mana value. Exile that card, then that player shuffles. You may cast that exiled card without paying its mana cost. Synthesis Pod is insane. This thing has so much utility that I think it's ridiculous. If you know your opponent's decks because it's your constant play group, you know what you're gonna want to snatch from your opponents. If you know what your opponent's win con is, you can try to snipe for win cons. You can try and take use your opponent's win cons. If someone stacks something on top of their library using a vampiric tutor, you can screw that over for them, or even try to aim for whatever you think that they look for on the top of their library. This thing is, the amount of utility and how insane this is, I don't think there's enough words to describe how much fun, if that is, some people might even describe this as unfun because of how good and how useful it is.
So I feel like you're overvaluing it, but for different reasons why I would very much value it a lot.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
I would see this. See what I see with this is one. It's not. It doesn't say activate only as a sorcery, right? And
Yeah.
two, there's one specific deck that comes to mind. One very very specific deck that comes to mind for this to be used in, and it's Tasigur. Because you can delve away your cards in your graveyard to pay 1 black mana to cast Tasigur, then pay one mana and pay 2 life, tap it, exile Tasigur, and now if my opponent has a I don't know Toxrill, peer into the abyss, because Tasigur costs 6, you get that specific Hullbreaker Horror. Let's say you cast Tasigur, you exile it. Now you target the Urza player, the Urza Kraken player. You're gonna get a Hullbreaker Horror. Not only that, is for something for 4 mana, you could get an ad nauseum. I'm thinking of like very very specific spells, and you just kind of need to know your opponent's deck, or need to know what environment you're in, because this is like very, very, very bad, like extremely bad in casual play. You might get something interesting, you probably not, but in